You ever look at a perfect report on your screen, all the numbers line up, but you still get that feeling that it's just not telling the whole story? Well, today we're diving into a really powerful Japanese philosophy designed to solve exactly that problem. It's all about closing that gap between the data and what's really happening. Let's get into it.
All right, here's how we're going to break it down. We'll start with that classic disconnect between the office and the factory floor. Then I'll introduce you to Sangen Shugi, and we'll see how it actually works in the real world. After that, we'll cover the key benefits, talk about why it's more relevant than ever, and finally, see how it evolves from just observing into a full-blown decision-making framework.
So let's set the scene here. In pretty much every business, there's this dangerous gap. It's the disconnect between the nice, tidy world of our office screens and the messy, complex reality of where the real work gets done. It's the gap between what we think is happening and what is actually happening.
I mean, think about it. On one side, you've got the desk view, right? It's all clean spreadsheets, polished dashboards, and neat reports. But then there's the floor view. It's noisy, it's chaotic, it's full of people improvising and dealing with real-world glitches that, let's be honest, never make it into a report. And when you only rely on that desk view, you're not just missing half the picture, you're basically making decisions with one eye closed.
And that leads us to the big question, the one every single effective leader has to ask themselves. How do we actually connect these two worlds? How do we bridge that gap to make way better decisions?
Well, the answer just might lie in a Japanese philosophy called Sangen Shugi. At its heart, it's a pretty simple but incredibly powerful idea. If you want to solve a problem, you have to go to the source. Okay, so what is Sangen Shugi really? It's all about rejecting that armchair quarterback approach. It says that to truly understand a problem, you can't just theorize about it. You have to get your hands dirty by engaging directly with what it calls the three reals. So what are these three reals? It's a three-step journey. First, you have Genba. That means you go to the actual place where the work is happening. Don't just read about it. Second is Genbutsu. Examine the actual thing. Go touch the machine, hold the product, watch the process. And third, you have Genjitsu. Grasp the actual reality. This is where you see the real facts and data, but in their true context, right there on the floor. It's how you get from your desk to the truth.
And hey, this isn't just some abstract philosophical concept. This is a battle-tested principle. It's been a core driver of success for some of the biggest and most innovative companies on the planet.
Toyota is the classic example here. They have their own version called Genchi Genbutsu, which pretty much means go and see for yourself. And for them, it's not just a guideline. It is the absolute bedrock of their legendary Toyota production system. It's the reason their engineers and managers are famous for spending hours, sometimes days, right there on the factory floor.
And it's not just Toyota. You see this everywhere. Giants like Honda, and even consumer goods companies you might not expect, like Kao and P&G, have woven this go-to-the-source mentality deep into their corporate DNA. It's how they stay so competitive.
Okay, so we know it works for the big guys, but what does embracing the three reals actually do for a business? Let's break down the four biggest benefits.
First and foremost, you get safer workplaces. I mean, it's just common sense. When you're physically there in the Gemba, you spot things that are completely invisible on a safety report. You see the frayed cable, the awkward workflow, the potential trip hazard, and that means you shift from just reacting to accidents to actually preventing them from ever happening.
Second, your communication gets so much better. A 20-email chain can never, ever replace a 2-minute face-to-face conversation right next to the machine that's acting up. Being there builds a level of trust and shared understanding that digital tools on their own just can't touch.
The third benefit? You get validated data. This is huge. Your dashboard might tell you a process takes exactly 10 minutes, but when you go see the Genbutsu, the actual process, you realize the team has to use 3 clever workarounds just to hit that number. This practice doesn't just give you data, it gives you the crucial story behind the data.
And finally, all of this drives growth for the whole company. When leadership is truly connected to the reality on the ground, they just make smarter, more effective decisions. It aligns management with the front lines, and that alignment? That's what builds a truly resilient, motivated organization.
Now, I know what some of you are probably thinking. This all sounds great, but isn't it a little old-fashioned for our super digital world?
That's the common pushback, right? We've got big data, IoT sensors, fancy analytics. Surely we don't need to physically leave our desks anymore to know what's going on.
But here's the thing. That's a false choice.
The real answer isn't about picking technology or this philosophy. It's about creating a partnership where each one makes the other exponentially more powerful.
Just think about how modern tech can supercharge the three reals. IoT sensors, they give you a 24/7 view of the Genbutsu, the actual thing. AI can analyze data to reveal the Genjitsu, the actual reality, in ways no human ever could. You can even use VR to visit a remote Gemba from anywhere in the world. But, and this is a big but, technology is just a tool. You still need the philosophy of Sangen Shugi to ask the right questions in the first place and to go validate what all that tech is telling you.
But getting an accurate observation is really only the first half of the puzzle. Sangen Shugi is actually the foundation for an even more complete framework, one that takes us all the way from seeing the problem to making a great decision.
So if you think of Sangen Shugi as being all about accurately understanding the problem, then its evolution, Gogen Shugi, is about what you do next, making a solid principle-based decision.
So, we always start with our foundation, right? The three reels we've been talking about: you go to the place, you observe the thing, and you grasp the reality. That's our analysis phase.
Now, Gogen Shugi builds on that by adding two more crucial layers for decision-making. Step 4 is Genri, which means principle. You ask, does our proposed solution align with fundamental scientific laws or our core business principles? Then, step 5 is Gensoku, or rules. You ask, does this solution actually follow our company's established standards and regulations? This 5-step process is how you turn that raw, on-the-ground observation into structured, sound judgment.
So as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with a question to chew on. In your own work, in your own organization, what's the crucial, on-the-ground reality that you might be missing by staying at your desk? What amazing things could you discover just by practicing a little Sangen Shugi?